What's going on, everybody? The Red Sun fucking lives. I'm just gonna keep swearing until I figure out a better intro. Like, I don't. God damn it. Alright, now that that's over, what I wrote to. A lot of the times when I make, like, stuff that I'm gonna, like, do, I usually do it, like, the day after I record. And then I, like, write something down on my little notepad. And then I wake up the next day. It's like, oh shit, I gotta make something today. And I look down and I just see this open little notepad book that just has something that I wrote down on it. And oftentimes I don't remember writing it. Like, there's nothing that I do that affects my memory in any way. But maybe I just have really shitty memory because I'll wake up and I'll be like, all right, time to get to work. Look, what was I planning on doing today? Picks up the little notepad. Huh, the fuck did I make this? Well, for today, I wanted to do a little thing that I feel like a lot of people have done, but nobody has really had like a full thing for it. But since everybody is going to be in their houses for the next, my mother is a nurse and she has to deal with an incredibly large amount of people, and God bless her for everything that she's done, and because she works, because she has to deal with people with the sick, people who have gotten down with the sickness, and she says it's probably at its peak in my state at the moment. It's not nearly. Let me phrase that. It's not nearly at the peak of what it is right now, and it's only going to get worse. But I still believe we're going to make it through it. So here's a little tip from a guy who doesn't have a lot of money to help you stay fed, and it tastes fucking good. And it doesn't require shit. Everything that I'm gonna list off is optional except for like one thing, and then even after that, there's not a lot to it. So here's a little like, let's call this the quarantine cookbook. And for what I have today, it's very almost everything in it is optional except for the main thing. So what I call it, my name for it, and I'm sticking with it, is called Potatoes and Poverty. As you can see by the little red hair there, I am used. I am Irish in one way or another. It's not really fun, but it's there. But what you need to know is that this entire recipe contains most, if not all, of the nutrients a human needs for whatever food they might need. So this should take care of at least everything that you need food wise, because it adds a little bit. It adds enough. But if you want to go the full route and get absolutely everything, and I mean everything, like you have a stocked pantry, you saw everything that's happening coming, so you just decided to stock up. All right, let's say you saw it coming and you have a full pantry. If you wanted to go full pantry wise, what you're gonna need is, I feel like a single person requires a maximum of two potatoes. Each potato a little bit like around the size of like a full hand, like right there and up. Slightly smaller. Anything between the size of your fist and the size of an outstretched hand. And two potatoes about that size. Then you're gonna need about four, no, maybe 5 tablespoons of butter. 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter. Then you're going to need a small can, and I say need loosely because this is where like it ends off on like what you need. All right, so 2 potatoes, 5 tablespoons of butter, a small can of any type of mushrooms, whether it be sliced mushrooms or just regular canned ones, the diced or the sliced ones. You know, the ones that come out looking exactly like mushrooms, or the ones that come out looking like squares because somebody just split them down every center possible. Any can of those little tiny ones, the ones that look like half cans, the ones that are like the size of like a half of a can of those tiny Pepsi can, those really tiny ones that have soda in them, like cut those in half. It's usually one of those. They usually have like the little peel back thing that you have on like cat food or shit like that. You'll need one of them. Then you take a half. Then you take a half an onion. You take an onion, cut it in half, refrigerate one of the halves, and then you can use the actual half. Then you'll need Lowry salt and garlic powder. These are optional. You don't. Maybe it's more up to you than it is to anybody else. But overall, this is incredibly cheap compared to everything else. Compared to just like ordering from Domino's every single day for the remainder of time at home. And then if you want to go like full the whole spectrum, then you get another little pan, a little small one, kind of stuff you'd use to like boil tea if you wanted to make it. And you get a can of cream of mushroom soup. Throw it in there. Throw it in there, let it boil over a certain period of time, and then you'll save that for later. Now, what I do is I don't peel the potatoes, mostly because you just fry them. You don't really taste the difference between a fried potato and a normal one. All right, first, what I did is I took the 5 tablespoons of butter, I cut 3 tablespoons off of that, put it into the pan, put it on around like whatever a high is on your cooking. Turn it about 75, 3/4 of what high is. Then once you've gotten the butter in there, you cut the potato, you slice the potato about as thick as you'd see a pickle slice, about that. And then you throw them into the pan. Wait for the butter to start simmering down. Then you chop up the onion. Then you chop up the onions, normal way that you do it. Cut the onion in half, refrigerate one half, and then cut down sideways. Make sure you get it all into the little bits. Put it in there, open the can of mushrooms, kind of push the water and excess stuff out of it, and then put it into the pan. Once you've done that, then add as much of any type of seasoning that you want. Personally, I do Lowry salt and garlic garlic powder. I add in as much as I feel like is necessary because really it gets cooked away a lot of the times, or it gets cooked in. And once you've got it all in there, put the lid on to keep the water in there, kind of make sure everything gets a little bit more tender, a little bit easier to chew, a little bit easier to bite into, easier to stick the fork in without breaking the whole thing in half. What's that? All right. Now that you've gotten everything in there, just keep flipping it around like you're cooking sauce, like you're cooking sausage patties. Just keep scooping it around, moving it around, make sure everything's cooking evenly, make sure everything's getting a little bit more tenderized, the water's getting moved around, softens everything up. And the best part about this is that not only is it incredibly simple, but you don't need a timer for cooking it. It's really more personal preference. Because the great things about everything that I told to add, butter can be served at any temperature. Potatoes are God's gift to Earth. They can be served at any temperature and have incredible nutritious value. Ooh, and they taste fucking great. Hey, onions, same deal. You could eat it like an apple, but I would advise against that because it's a little gross. Seasoning works the same way, and mushrooms are God's second gift to Earth because they're also fucking awesome. Personally, they taste great. They cook very well once they've gotten like burnt and crispy and sizzled together, and then you bite into them along with the potatoes. It tastes fucking amazing. But it's more of an eyeball sort of cook. So if everything looks like it's getting crispy, it's getting crunchy, and you know it's going to taste good, then you're good. If you like having it a little bit tougher, then you don't cook it as long. It's up to personal preference. There's no timer on it because everything that you've put into the pan is 100% raw. Is edible 100% raw. It's almost like cooking a salad that eventually turns into something that fills up your daily calorie intake, your daily vitamin intake, your daily everything. It fits every single issue. And it's vegan. Maybe. I don't know where butter stands on that. It's vegetarian, I'm pretty sure. Right. And potatoes taste good to everyone. Fuck you if you're a part of a diet that has nothing to do with potatoes. You can eat a dick. Which I don't think is in your diet now, is it? So, once you've got all that, you just put it onto a plate. This is all serving for one. This is a one-person serving. 2 potatoes and everything else. I feel like you can adjust accordingly per person that you're serving. But then again, if you're watching this, you're probably really only looking out for yourself in this time of need. So once you've got that, you can just eat it whatever you want. I'm white, so I use a lot of ketchup when I eat any type of the potatoes that are in there because something got drilled into my head that French fries taste really good with potatoes. That means French fries taste really good with ketchup. Every single potato ever deserves to be mixed with ketchup. Except for mashed potatoes. That's a weird combination, and you know it. Then you put the cream of mushroom soup on top of it if you want. I personally don't, but my family members who also eat it, they really don't care. They really like it, apparently. Now, the reason I say I like this recipe more than any other type of like survival-esque recipe is that everything is 100% optional. All you need is potatoes. That's it. Other than that, you don't even need to cook it. You can literally just grab the fucking potato and eat it like an apple. Although you'd also get a ton of nutrients from the butter, since it's also a milk product, and milk products have an incredible amount of certain things, including necessary calorie intakes. But I digress. What I would personally recommend is if you're not really on a budget, everything is stocked up, I would go with that. It lasts a long time. Potatoes themselves are incredibly hearty and filling, so it sticks with you for a while. Just it fills you up. You don't really need to do a lot afterwards. It gives you enough energy, which is why I fucking love Irish people. They have I'm glad I'm part of them, at least a little bit. So once you've gotten all that, if you're on a little bit more of a budget, maybe you can you should probably cut out the cream of mushroom, and you should probably cut out the mushrooms. If you're on more of a tightened budget, you can go without the seasonings, and you can go without the onions. If you're on the tightest budget, then you probably have the potatoes that you probably stole from somebody and are using a random fire to cook everything, which is 100% okay. Use that, and I suggest you stay in your little hut where you are. And I wonder how you're watching this, even though it's on the internet. But regardless, so lowest tier of necessary food intake is having some type of dairy product and potatoes. Next level, potatoes and butter. Next level above that, potatoes, butter, and seasoning. Next level above that, potatoes, butter, seasoning, and onions. Next level above that, potato, onions, seasoning, butter, onions, and mushrooms. And finally above that, potatoes, onions, seasonings, butter, mushrooms, onions. I'm fucking up the order. Just everything that I said, and then cream mushroom soup. Once you get to that level, you're safe. You have all the necessary calorie intakes you're going to need. Mushrooms are incredibly good. They add a lot of taste to it. They can be crunchy if they're cooked right. Once they're eaten, they can also mushrooms have a form of a fungal thing that goes on inside. The way that my dad always explained why I need to eat them is because they draw out toxins in the body. It's essentially like eating a really good tasting sponge. Except it's not like all that new age shit where they put pads on your feet and it draws out the toxins. This stuff literally draws out toxins in your stomach and pulls it in, and then you shit it out. You're not a problem. Potatoes, like I've said, ton of calories. Onions, very good tasting. Also have certain vitamins and nutrients that you'd probably need that aren't exactly in potatoes, but there's a most likely chance that they are. So they're more of a flavor thing. Butter adds in the less essential but more filling aspect where you can get your necessary calorie intake, your fats. That's everything that you possibly need. There's not a lot of sugar in it. Sugar is almost cut out to a good end. So you're safe there. Cream of mushroom is probably the least healthy part of the whole thing, but that one's the most optional. You don't have to do it. I don't do it, but my family does it. And if you buy a big enough thing and you have enough, if you buy one bag of onions and one bag of potatoes and a big thing of butter, that's about five. That is about 8 meals right there. 8 meals. And it probably cost you around $15. 8 meals, $15. That's $2 meal. That's better than fucking McDonald's. And it's 1,000% healthier because it's not all corporate shit all shoved down your throat. That is 100% you. You're safe. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. So, enjoy the recipe. I have labeled it Potatoes and Poverty. Because we've all been poor and we've all been okay. Because we all worked our way through it. So, as of now, keep yourself safe. Make sure everything's going well for you. Ooh, I encourage you to stay inside. Wash your fucking hands or I'll break them. Make them. That being said, Red Sun signing off. Bye, guys.